So this happened to me today. Alright, what is up, Transformer fans? This is the video review of Transformers Combiner Wars Voyager class Cyclonus from Wave 3. And I knew that if I held out long enough, this would be one of those figures that was just spontaneously gotten for me. And lo and behold, he was. I was in a Toys R Us, and I was like, oh, cool, there's Cyclonus, and I kept on walking, and one of my family members was like, you want him? And I was like, yes, I want him, but it's not a big deal. And they said, alright, well, you can get him. So, lo and behold, I have Cyclonus. And what a nice figure he is. I knew that he was good. Sorry, my chair's squeaking. I knew he was good, but I didn't really anticipate, how much had changed on him and how much had been improved from the Silverbolt mold. Now, don't get me wrong, he is the Silverbolt mold, just with a very, very large facelift. So let's go ahead and compare him to his predecessor. Emails. Sorry, I'm going to turn my volume down. So you can see here from the front, you've got pretty similar, you got a big chunk underneath and, the jet. But when you turn them up on their rear ends, well, it's going to be hard to see because they're so daggum tall. You can see that Cyclonus actually pulls off the jet mode just a bit better than Silverbolt does because of how alien his design is and how broad, and he has some meat to him. And Silverbolt is supposed to be a Concorde jet, which is a very, very sleek airliner, and it just doesn't really work with Silverbolt having this big mass on the underside. Now, don't get me wrong, Cyclonus still has the giant mass underneath. It just works a bit better due to the nature of what he's supposed to be. It ends up, not being as big of an offense because he's a Cybertronian jet, and, whatever that means to you, but he still has the big mass of stuff underneath, so they're pretty similar underneath-wise. But in terms of deco, Cyclonus really blows you away with his deco. Silverbolt was this white and orange, and he had some black, and that's a very Silverbolty color scheme. But Cyclonus just dazzles me because he's got such a very lovely paint and plastic color. He's mostly molded in this it's got a pearlescent, it's this pearlescent purple, and it's very, very nice. And then you get this deeper purple that's also a bit pearlescent when you hit the lights with it right. There's this deeper purple accenting him all over the place, not to mention the silver that also accents his nose cone. He does have some gold windows, which really help make that front of the jet stand out. And overall, he looks really nice. There's more of that deep purple poking through right here underneath. He does have the same landing gear that folds up. I mean, it really doesn't do a whole lot. I was going to help him sit level. So, but yeah, the jet mode is quite nice, and I really, really like it. Now, Silverbolt's jet mode was nice, but I just think this one performs a little bit better. It ends up looking more interesting. It hides its mass a little bit better, and it ends up, really, really coming across as just a neat-looking jet. And also, on Silverbolt, the fists were visible, and although this is parts forming, and I'm not a big fan of parts forming, these little fin pieces actually plug into the back of the hand and hide his hand just a bit. So you can kind of, overlook where the hand is. Like I said, he just hides his mass just a bit better than Silverbolt does. The mass is still there. He still has that undercarriage, but he hides it a bit better. So, let's talk about weapons real quick. He does come with the same weapon that Silverbolt came with, just in this gray plastic, so it's the same thing. It tabs together better, it's a little more solid, and it's held better in hand. The pegs have been altered, I believe. Actually, they may not have been. But whatever the case, he tends to hold it. This rifle tends to be held better than the other rifles. So, yeah. I don't know why he needs this. According to his bio, he can control. He has mind control, so he can just get his little underlings to shoot for him. He don't need no gun. So this has become my sniper rifle from Mirage, is what this piece has become. And I just kind of kicked this piece to the curb because it's too reminiscent of Silverbolt's rifle. But yeah, that's his weapons. And if you want, you can do the same trick where you plug it in underneath here, and it's very tight, and there you go. He's got the gun. Yay. So, I don't think he needs the rifle, to be honest with you. It's just parts count. So yeah, let's transform him. So transformation is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get going. What you want to do first is we'll go ahead and just pull these pieces out. And I'll go ahead and say it. I'm not a fan of part swapping because these are just more pieces to lose. However, they do end up pulling off a nice trick. So we'll set those off to the side. What you want to do is you want to fold down these two little flaps. And I want to kind of capture what goes on here. When you lift up these wing panels, this whole wing panel actually sits over the leg, and you'll see it in a minute. So the whole thruster cover goes down and snaps over it and gives it a really nice layered look. It just adds to the vehicle mode. So once you pull that leg up, you'll see underneath there's more molding that just gets covered up by that. So it gives it a nice layered and dynamic look. So once you pull these wings up, you want to take the cockpit, and it untabs, which it tabs in really solidly, and it comes all the way back and then tabs in again right there. And then these wings can actually fold up, and they just kind of friction sit right there on that piece. Then you want to move the arms out of the way, untab the legs. They're actually tabbed in up underneath here. So you're going to tab those, bring those down, bring those around, flip out the foot, close up that rear panel. So again, we flip out the foot, close up that rear panel, and then get the heel out. There we can stand him up. Which now I'm going to have to elevate the camera. Okay, so working on the upper body here, then you want to kind of just adjust his arms the way I tend to adjust them, so he's got more of a dynamic kind of pose. Then you want to take these wing bits, plug them into his arms, so he's got these fins on his arms. And then the head just is in here, and you just kind of push down on this piece, kind of pull forward on it, bring the head up, rotate it around, and then there we have Cyclonus in his robot mode. And so in robot mode, you can see a good bit that that is reminiscent of Silverbolt. As we bring him in here, you can see that the forearms and the legs and all that are still very similar. His whole torso is the same. The only thing that's really different is his chest and the head here in robot mode, and it does end up coming across as a nice way to use the same figure. Some different paint apps have brought out some different aspects of the toy, whereas Silverbolt has the red on his legs. The purple just kind of blends those legs together and gives him a more solid legged look. There's just some different things going on here that are really nice, and the fin details on the arms is what really gets me. It really kind of fills out those arms and makes him look really nice. So you can see here he does have a bit of a backpack, just like Silverbolt did. However, the benefit to Cyclonus is they can stick out to the side a bit and still look okay, because when you did Silverbolt's wings out to the side, it didn't really look that great. It just kind of got in the way of his arms. But because of the way Cyclonus' wings are designed, they sit back at this angle, and they're not in the way nearly at all, and they look pretty darn cool. So here's another example of how Cyclonus uses his mask just a bit better than Silverbolt does. And once again, the colors in this mode are fantastic. He just blows me away with the different shades of purple and silver. He just looks so clean and unique. So here I have an up-close of his face. You can see it's very nicely designed, except he's got like a disgusted kind of look. He just looks like he's upset to see you. But the helmet's very nice. He looks very Cyclonus-y. He's got the ears and that little big forehead crest, or little big whatever. But yeah, he's very nice. I just think he's got a little bit of a disgusted look, and if you back him up enough, it looks like he's just got this open mouth, just like duh face that he's making. A little bit there. It kind of looks like he's going so it's kind of funny. His mouth I would probably have changed a bit, but everything else looks really good on him. His head sculpt is pretty fantastic. Yes, he can hold his weapons, but may I reiterate, dude has mind control. He doesn't need them. And now on to one of my more favorite parts of this, his combined mode. Now, he has a really interesting torso. He actually becomes Galvatronus, whatever you want to call him. He just basically becomes Galvatron in his torso. And I think that that's a really, really neat stretch to make of, he was a herald of Galvatron, so it's kind of cool that his combined mode is Galvatron. So we're going to go ahead and go to combined mode. What you do, I'll just take the wings, get him out of the way, turn his head around, and tuck it back down in there. And if you don't turn it around, by the way, just so you can see what that looks like, if you don't turn it around, he just kind of peeks out, and he's like, hi. So you probably want to turn that head around just so it doesn't stare at you. So then you take the arms, you put them straight up in the air, unfold the hands like that. Then you want to cartwheel him over, take the legs, bring them down, and here you can start to see some of the detailing from Galvatronus, I just call him Galvatron. Open these rear panels, close up the feet, bring these legs down, and the wings getting in my way. And now these panels tab together really solidly, so I'm going to have to wrestle with them a bit. Just give it a tight little squeeze. Okay, so got the legs down like that. Now what you do, and this is way easier to get the head out than it is on Silverbolt, my bad. You just kind of get your thumb under here, pop this panel up, which now you can't see. Pop this panel up, bring it up. It bends right here. Then it comes up and tabs in back behind the neck. So it tabs in back here. You want to take this little piece right here, and it flips upward. Now what you do is you take the two halves of the leg, and they kind of clamshell over top of this center bit. And this tabs together and goes together very well. Then you want to open up these little flaps. And there we have Galvatronus in torso mode. Bleh. And there he is compared to Superion. So you can see the main differences in this guy really come out when he's in the Galvatronus mode. I mean, his whole torso is different. The legs are about the same, but he's got such a different design with those little fins down there. The paint really brings out different aspects of the mold, and he just overall ends up looking really, really cool. I don't know, maybe it's just the novelty of having Galvatron as a combiner, but I really like the Galvatronus combined mode. It works for me. Some things I have noticed about these guys is that his whole neck piece gets covered up a whole lot better by this panel, where Silverbolt's is just kind of there. Back behind here, he still does have the big backpack. But if you want, once again, you can splay it out to the side. It kind of looks like a cape, kind of. Whereas Silverbolt's, like I said, again, didn't really help that much. Just, different strokes for different folks. I'm not a big fan of it. Another thing is Silverbolt's backpack doesn't stay together very well back here. But Galvatronus, like this tabs and then these tab, and it just all stays together so solidly. Like I could shake this and it won't come down. But anyway, another benefit that Galvatronus has is his head is so much more mobile. It turns all the way back and forth and doesn't have to worry about hitting anything. Whereas Silverbolt, you can only get about that much motion, and still you're hitting and you're bumping up against this back piece here. So, you know, you can only get this far, whereas Galvatronus can get all the way over here. So, I mean, that's about as good as it gets there, people. So, I'm not going to even bother combining him, because y'all know what he'll look like with limbs on him. But overall, I really, really like the Cyclonus mold more than I thought I would, and I knew he was cool, but I just really enjoy him as a figure, and he definitely trumps Silverbolt. He definitely ends up being superior to him because, I mean, he uses his mass better. The torso mold is just a bit cooler, and I don't know. I like him more than I do Silverbolt, and I don't really know why, other than the fact that he just uses what he has better than what Silverbolt did. So, anyway, that's my review for Galvatronus / Cyclonus. He's a really cool figure, and you should definitely pick him up if you see him. So, yeah, that was really all I needed. I'm all caught up with Combiner Wars, because I don't plan on getting the White Optimus. So, yeah, there's that. Alright, well, thanks for viewing this video, and goodbye.